Welcome to The Firehouse, the show dedicated to the brave men and women who serve our community.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Firehouse on WRHU 88.7. I am your host, Chris Moses, and today, sitting with me in The Firehouse is none other than my homegirl, Konica. And I didn't want to say your last name because now I'm worried if I'm going to say it right or wrong. And it's Devasser.
Correct.
I got it. So Konica Devasser from Uniondale Fire Department. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
How are you? All right. So I know who you are, but the audience doesn't. So do me a favor and, tell them your full name. Tell them what department you're in, what ranks you've held, and how long you've been in.
Well, guys, good morning, I should say.
There we go. Good morning, because we're here early today. We're here
right.
early.
My name is Konica from
Okay.
Uniondale Fire Department. I'm actually in emergency company number 1.
All right.
I am a rescue and EMT, both.
Okay.
And not really held any ranks. I mean, I'm a black shield.
Okay.
And then, I held a rank of a chairwoman for disaster preparedness.
There you go. That's a rank. That's a rank. Well, how long have you been in, though? How long have you been in?
I've been here for 10 years.
Wow. See? 10
years.
years. Don't that
Started
go
in
fast?
2014.
2014.
Yeah.
10 years that you've been in there. Now,
10 years.
you had said, just for the listeners that may not understand, so you said that you're in emergency company 1, then you said rescue. So what's, I guess, the difference? Is it the same? If you can explain that to the listeners.
So emergency company 1, I believe, kind of stands out more than any company, not to violate any other company, but
people get sensitive.
Yeah, I know, but
nobody
take offense to it. It's our company is a little bit more unique.
Okay.
Because you have the rescue side, which has all firemen, firewoman, and then EMS, which is 2 entities in one. So we're like a 2-for-1 company.
Ah, there you go. So it's like both. So you have emergency, which is the EMTs, and then you have rescue, which are firefighters.
Correct.
But all still one company.
Yes.
So that means your trainings must be pretty dope, because you're not just like me. I'm an engineman. I'm training on engine.
Right.
You're training EMTs and firefighters. Okay.
Yep.
Got you. All right. I like that. All right. So 10 years. Konica, I know you got some stories. We're going to get into them. I know you got some stories for me. We're going to get into those, but not yet. Let's start from the beginning, from humble beginnings, right? 10 years ago, what made you say, I'm going to join and decide to go into the fire department? People just don't wake up and say, I want to run in the fires. Or did you?
Well,
talk to me. Tell me the story.
So in 2014, I came back from college because my father was sick. My mother had called me back, so I left college the way it was, and I came back to take care of my dad.
Okay. Where'd you go to college?
I went to Plattsburgh State.
Okay.
And, I came home, and ex-captain Colton Winter, he knows my family very well.
Okay. Shout out Colton. What's up, brother?
But he one day, he knows that I'm a, person that loves food. So Sunday, he told me, I'm going to take you out for some brunch, come down. I'm going to take you out for some brunch. He gave me an address. I showed up, and, I showed up in this parking lot in the back. I was like, what is Colton doing?
This?
What kind of weird stuff is happening over here? I walk in, and all of a sudden, Colton goes and says, oh, this is a new member joining Company 1.
Oh, so you didn't even know. No, you didn't even know. It was just.
No, I had no idea.
I mean, I guess there was going to be food there because it's Sunday, right? So he was going to get you the food.
I told him, I thought, we were going to have a nice brunch. I was going to eat some food because I did, come there starving. But no, I didn't get food in the end.
I didn't.
No, I didn't.
Colton,
I just got
man,
trapped.
That's messed up, Colton.
I got trapped.
You trapped
into,
her.
into joining Company 1. And he said that you're gonna like this company because you're different. So he said, you've always been different. You're gonna be different here.
Okay.
I said, okay, I'll let you know. Let me go talk to my family.
Yeah. Yeah, because you didn't come there to join.
Right. So,
But did you already know about the, fire service, the volunteer service? Did you know about it, or you had no clue about it?
So my neighbors were Eddie O Senior and
There
Junior.
we go. Okay, the Overtons, baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you already know they're members from Brookside Company too.
Yeah.
So
you knew of it.
Yeah,
Because of
I
them.
knew of it. I knew the dog that used to be there,
Yes,
Halligan.
Halligan. Yep.
So when I was younger, we used to pass by Brookside, and Halligan would come to the door, and we would pet Halligan. So they were very supportive when they found out that I had told Eddie O that they're trying to make me join Uniondale.
Yeah, and they probably was like, yeah,
he
do it.
said,
Let's
do it.
go,
He
do
said,
it.
do it. But so I knew about it, and then my security company, actually had put one of the smoke detectors right in front of our bathroom.
Okay.
So all the steam used to hit that smoke detector, and Brookside
Would
Company
show
2
up.
would, it was like every other day in front of my house. And I was like, man, these guys keep showing up at my house, like I'm just a hot commodity at this point. So that was my story of how I basically got into Company 1.
So I guess you went back home, you talked to the family, they were like, all right, you talked to the Overtons, they was like, yes, let's go, get it. And then you came back the next Sunday and was, let's go.
So actually, as you may know, my mom is a very different individual. So I come from Indian Punjabi background, right?
Okay.
So my mom wasn't too thrilled of me joining the fire service.
Okay.
My
so
dad,
in that culture, that's not something that you see. Is it because you're a woman, or is it because, is that why it's not? Why she wasn't too thrilled, or?
So in my culture, they would typically see males. It's like a male dominant
it's a male
thing.
kind of thing. So for
so,
her to say, for the daughter to come home and be like, I'm about to get in a fire department, she's like, what?
Yeah. So my dad was like, if you want to do it, then do it.
Love it. Shout out.
But my mom was a little bit skeptical because she was like, what are people going to say?
Yeah.
And my dad said, do whatever you want. So my dad was a very big supporter.
Okay.
And then my siblings were like, try it out. Maybe you might like it,
There you go. Okay.
So to convince my mom, I needed reinforcement. So I brought Colton to my house.
There you go. And Colton will be there. Colton was ready. Like,
because
I got you.
my mom would listen to Colton.
So,
so he was like, everything was good until, my investigation came. And I remember it was Felix Guerrera.
Yep, I remember Felix.
And Colton. And Felix said that, your daughter can die anytime in the line of duty, which freaked my mom out even more. And my dad was like,
Felix, dude, why would you say that? But I guess we got to let you know, let the family know the truth. So.
And Colton said, this is free. This is not paid.
Yeah.
And, in the end, it was just, I guess Colton was able to convince the family. He said that she'll be in good hands. Trust me.
We'll take care of her.
Yeah, we'll take care of her.
Yeah.
So I think my family was convinced after that.
Okay. So that was it. So you kind of got pushed into it, but then I guess you adopted it. You was like, I'm in here. I'm ready to do this, and let's do it.
Yeah.
So you get down. I guess your first Sundays, you do your Sundays, and now you're in there. So you start with. So how does that work? And this is, I guess, what my question is, because did you start as an EMT or you went right in as rescue? How did that go when there's two companies? What do they do?
So, we take that respiratory test, right?
Okay.
So, I didn't do too well on the respiratory test. I say,
that's the breathing.
Yeah,
Right? Every firefighter. So just for our listeners know, we have to do physicals every year. And there's one part of the physical where you have to take this thing and you go, and you got to blow out with all the strength in your lungs.
Whatever.
And sometimes people don't pass it. And it's like, oh my God. It's like the nerve-wracking thing of it. But go ahead.
And the best thing is they talk about the age of your lungs.
Yes.
So, everybody's usually like, what?
Yeah. I'm 20 and my lungs are 40. What
right.
the hell?
So, I didn't do too well with the respiratory.
Okay.
So Colton was like, it's okay. We're going to put you in EMS for now. And I was like,
Okay.
Okay. So, like, I said, okay, whatever,
So that's how you started.
Yeah.
You started in EMS. So now I'm pretty sure they don't just throw you in and say, get on the ambulance and start running calls. Like there's training that's involved, right?
Yes. Yes.
So what is the training? Like, what do you have to do at that time? This is 10 years ago too. So I'm pretty sure things have changed a little bit. But
I remember, trainings, the discipline was way different than it is now, because we do have a newer generation that,
things
have
are
joined.
different. Yes.
Back in the day, I remember I overslept. Training starts 9 a.m. sharp.
That's right.
So, ex-captain Colton Winter was my captain at that time.
Okay.
So I didn't show up
So
at
Colton
9
was
o'clock.
out physically recruiting. He was out there recruiting.
Yeah.
But go ahead, finish.
But he basically didn't see me at 9 a.m. And he drove the fire truck
to
and
your
was
house?
blaring the horn in front of my house to get me outside. And then,
man.
Here I am, I said, what in the world?
What is going on?
Yeah,
Did someone set off the steam again? What's going on?
And then you hear him on the mic talking about Konica, come outside. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
You came outside, didn't you?
I did. And I never was late again.
Never was late again. So besides that training, though, don't you have to get a certification, right?
Yes.
You have to go through EMT school.
Yeah. So we go to EMT school for 6 months.
Okay.
We had to pass a final exam first before you move on to skills.
Wow. Okay.
And then
so that's
you
the book work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you go twice a week. Accelerated course, honestly, it's for the very smart people. Kudos to them. They want to cram everything in 3 months. I could not do it. But 6 months, definitely I went twice a week.
Okay.
And I took the final exam. You have to pass the final exam to move to the next step, which is skills.
Okay.
You have to pass the skills to move on to the state.
Wow. Okay.
And back in the day, it was a little bit nerve-wracking because you didn't get your score right there and then.
So you have to wait.
We waited 2 weeks.
So you're just sitting there for 2 weeks did I pass it? Did I make it? Did I pass it?
So I was, nerve-wracked. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. The first time, I failed by 1 point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That hurts because it's well, what didn't I do? When you fail by a lot, it's all right, I know what I did. I got to study this. But for 1 point, it's well, what didn't I study enough?
Right. So I said, no, I'm not doing this.
It was done.
I said, I'm not doing this. So, Colton would drag me into the office and lock me in there, right, with a box of munchkins and some orange juice and tell me I have to study, 2 hours or 3 hours a day.
Okay. Wow.
So, it was, he
intense.
used to be a go hard when it came to this kind of stuff, But he always wanted me to succeed.
Yeah.
So, especially being a woman in the service, right?
Yeah. So he's push through.
So
Let's go.
the second time I took the test, I passed.
All right. I know he was excited.
Yeah.
Family, everybody was excited then.
Yeah. So, that night that I passed my exam, I had my first call ever.
Oh, we got to talk about it. We're going to get into the stories, but I guess we can start there. So your first call you just passed, and this is an EMT call, of course, because you're EMT, right?
Yeah.
So walk me through this, because I know you must be, when I say super nervous, right?
Oh, yeah. So, this is when Omari Blue was in the company with Tori.
Okay.
All right.
So
of course, Tori was there, Omari was there, Fitz was there, September was there.
So you had some seasoned people around to help you out.
Yeah, I had a lot of, senior guys that were there to at least, be my mentors.
Yes. Okay.
So, everybody was so excited that, we already have a tech, I could drive and, she can tech.
Yeah. There you go.
So I went to my first call, and when I went to my first call, go figures, my guy couldn't talk. And he was quadriplegic.
Okay.
So I said, oh.
So now you're trying to figure out how to find out what's wrong with someone that's not talking.
So I said.
That's a beautiful first call. That's how it should be.
But the crazy thing is, Omari and Tori both knew the house.
So they already knew.
They set me up.
They was like, let's go. But that's how it is. It's, listen, you got to learn. You got to learn.
And then when we came back to the Firehouse, they was like, yeah, we know this is a house that gets frequently called. And I was like, okay. All right.
I love that. I love that.
So it was like I was always put to the test.
There you go.
So.
And then you came out triumphant every single time.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. But let's keep going with the stories. I know you got some good stories. So what's your first real good story? Whether it's on, well, you know what? Before we get to the story, because you're now in rescue now.
Yeah.
So how did that transition go? Let's just talk about that real quick.
So a big hand in that was Fitzroy
Morgan. We had him on the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
And September.
Okay.
Bobby, they said they wanted to kind of change, the era with just male dominant firemen, right?
Shout out to them.
They wanted to also bring women into it, right?
Okay.
So I said, okay, you know what? Let me give it a shot. I was already 6 years in EMS and I was already off for probation.
Okay.
I know the ambulance from the back of my hand.
Yeah. You're comfortable now.
Yeah.
You're comfortable.
You can put a blindfold on me. I can still go inside every single compartment and know what, everything is.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Let me start something new. I'll do, the fire truck. I knew majority of the compartments because we had the old 7512 where majority of the tools with, the Hearst tools were operated by generators.
Yep.
Right? They had the same, thing going on with 751.
Okay.
So I already came in seasoned.
You kind of already knew what was going on.
Correct.
Okay.
And then, so learned the compartments. I would say fire school was intense.
It is, right? Nassau County Fire Service Academy. Shout out to them.
So when they put me in primaries and essentials, we started off with essentials first. In the end of primaries, we found out Michelle and I were the two females that went from our company. We actually were the first class that they had as an experiment for Firefighter 1.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's funny because we had Chief Wilders on here and he was talking about how that's where it changed to where everyone is going to Firefighter 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so Michelle and I were the guinea pigs to start that, to start that little trend. So when we came and we passed with hazmat, with the essentials and primaries, we got Firefighter 1 certificates.
There we go. Look at that. You're a trendsetter. You're a trendsetter. If people don't know, Konica over here setting trends. So you get into that. So now you pass that. So now you're in rescue, right?
Yeah.
You still practice as an EMT though, right? Because it's one company. So if calls come in, you're on that ambulance. You're still riding.
Right. So what happens is rescue is backup for EMS.
Okay.
Okay. So a lot of rescue guys are already EMTs.
Okay.
But you don't have to be,
okay.
It's a choice. But, if we're short on EMS, then rescue guys jump
to help out.
Yeah. To help out.
To get that rig rolling.
Which is a good thing to have your EMT because you can be trained as a chauffeur, but then if need be, if you need a tech, you can be a tech too.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I think I got the benefit of both.
You got that. And that's what you have. So if anything comes up, you can help out. You can hop in there. You can tech. You can do it all.
Right. Because, as you know, every weekend I used to take 99.
There
right?
you go.
I used to be the first responder, in the car. You see me flying back and forth over the weekends.
Going to these calls,
Yeah, and I think that's how a lot of people in other departments, they would hear me and they would hear 99. They were like, oh, Konica's there.
Is that good or bad?
Right. But I guess throughout the years that I've been in,
okay,
who is a big supporter of mine.
Okay.
He knows my family well. My mom adores him. My family adores him too.
Okay.
And he actually put a good word in for me, where he said that, you know what? Why don't we try Konica to be a paid EMT.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
This is when, obviously not everybody now, like it's not like back in the day where people are like, I do it for the community.
Yeah.
Now people just want to get paid.
Yeah. Now. Yeah. Yep.
So, they use me as a trial and error to see if in the future,
they can get paid
job
EMTs.
opportunities.
Look,
because
like I said, trendsetter over
here. Knock on wood, many blessings. I did, now I'm working for the district.
Okay.
Right. And, the people I work for in the district are amazing people. Also volunteer firemen.
Yep.
And they also work for FDNY. So
look at that.
I
So it's
all
like you get all this experience.
Yeah.
All of that. See that? This is just for our listeners to know, like, this is what you get when you are in these volunteer services, when you're in the fire department. These are the things that you get. You get those connections, and then you get to learn from all these amazing people.
Right.
You literally, and you're learning firsthand. And in the volunteer services, that's one thing we love to do is teach. We will show you what the next steps are. All right. So we got to get into some stories. What story you got for me? Let's go. First story. What you got? I need a good, either on rescue side or EMS, whatever you got for me.
I mean, we can run through a couple of stories.
Okay. Let's go.
EMS, we can start off with the sad one. But,
all right. Let's start off with the sad one.
The sad one was we had the MVA on between M5, M6. They call the
Meadowbrook Parkway. Is that what she's talking about?
Yeah, they talk. Meadowbrook Parkway is actually, called the death highway around that area because, everybody speeds on there.
Yep.
And we don't, people don't understand that it curves.
Yep. And sometimes you forget that curve is coming up. You're right.
So, we got paged in the middle of the night. It was probably like 1 or 2. I think you were there too.
Yeah. I remember the call.
And we go there. There's a car wrapped around the tree.
Yeah.
And then, we got there and I was EMS at that time. And, they obviously cut the roof. Unfortunately, like the 2 people had passed.
Yeah.
And, I started seeing people that I knew, they were showing up one by one, family members and stuff. And, one of the family members passed out. I was in the back checking her out. And then, she disclosed to me that it was somebody I knew.
Yeah.
So both of the people that died,
you knew them.
They were friends of mine.
Yeah. See,
and
that's hard.
I remember because I was supposed to attend that event that they were in.
Wow.
But I was so tired I fell asleep.
Wow. So where the event? I guess they were coming back from. You were supposed to have go.
Correct.
Over there. Okay.
So it was a very traumatic experience.
It's a lot, especially when you know the people. And just for our listeners to know, this is what we talk about when we talk on this show. Is like, your local firefighters. These are people you'll see at ShopRite. These are people that you know.
Yeah.
And she knew them. She knew these people. But go ahead.
Yeah. So it was a very traumatic thing. I had to attend a double funeral the same month. And the people that see me on scene, they were asking me what happened, but I can't disclose that information, you know?
Of course. You gotta still professionalism still at the highest.
And
you still have a job to do.
It was actually a crime scene as well.
Okay.
Usually what happens is if there's a person that passes away or DOA, it turns into
a crime. They gotta figure out why. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, the best thing about the fire service is that if we go through traumatic experiences, we have resources.
There we go.
Right? That they bring in. And if you need extra help, they will send you, to a therapist free of charge, just to make sure your mind is right.
That's right.
Because what people don't understand for EMS and firefighters, it's very stressful.
Yes. Stress related. Yep.
And it does affect a lot of people in their mental health. So, we did have, people that came. And they, asked if anybody needs, anything, let us know. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. And, we're good to go. So that was a sad story.
That was a sad story. That was a sad story. But no, it's a story that needs to be told because it shows like your local firefighters are in the community and know these people, went to school with these people to see that. And now you have to go do your job with knowing these
Right.
things. You got, and just even the fact of, you know, not so much them, the family, you know, the family, and they're coming to you like, what's going on? And it's like, you know, you got to have that level of professionalism till, so it's still right. But I'm glad that's one thing that I think has changed when we've talked to a lot of people. The resources are now there, especially for mental health when it comes to, you know, firefighters. The resources are now there. So that's good. I love that. I love to hear stuff like that. All right. So let's get to another story. All right.
Fire story.
Yes. What you got? What you got?
I think, you know, my 10 years here, I think Uniondale tops this.
Okay.
2 fires within 30 minutes.
Talk about it. Let's go. Talk about it.
So I remember, you know.
Now we're talking house fires.
Yeah, house
Back-to-back
fires.
house fires, right?
Back-to-back house
We
fires.
need this story right now. I don't think anyone's told a story like this yet.
So, I remember, you know, I had a nice little beach day. You know,
okay,
with my
so
family.
wait. Are you in EMT right now or you're rescue?
Which was in rescue.
You're in rescue.
Point.
Okay, so you're responding to this
so,
call. Okay,
so
go ahead.
The thing was
not that EMTs weren't responding, but you're going to work.
Right.
So go ahead, let's go.
So I had a nice little beach day with my family, you know, coming back.
Doesn't it always start out so nice today?
And then we were coming back, you know, dropped the family off, and then, you know, like signal 10. I'm like, but I missed the rig, right? I almost, you know, I text in the group chat. I said, put my gear on the rig.
I am on my way.
So I remember, you know, like I'm literally, you know, like I'm still damp. Don't try this at home, everybody. You know, like don't try this at home. I geared up, you know, in my damp clothes.
Yeah.
And, you know, I geared up and I was ready to go. And the first house I remember, you know, like was ex-Chief Teddy Smith.
Okay.
Was a chief at that time.
Okay.
And he basically, you know, like we started noticing the structure was moving and the house was going to collapse. So we, you know, like the thing with our fire department is, you know, if they know that there's, you know, we're about to collapse, the house is going to collapse, or, you know, there's animals inside the house and we're trying to bring them outside, we're going to blare the horns and the sirens, you know, just to
get everyone out.
Yeah, alarm everybody.
Well, I guess at that moment nobody was inside. We
were
firefighters.
inside.
So they're not just blaring the horn for the animals. They're blaring it for everybody. Get the heck out. Okay,
right. So
gotcha.
you know, like I guess, you know, somebody in truck company noticed that the structure was moving.
Wow.
So he told the chief that, you know, everybody kind of got to get out.
Yeah.
And while, you know, you got Chief Teddy Smith going, you know, he's operating this fire. 30 minutes later, we hear another signal 10, maybe like 5 minutes away from where we were.
let's run through this. The fire is going on, horns start blaring, everybody get out, right?
Yeah.
So now everybody starts coming out.
Yeah.
Is that when y'all get the call, or y'all got the call while everyone was still inside?
We got the call when we were on our way outside.
You were on your way outside.
Right.
Okay, all right. So there we go. So
if the structure is going to drop, we're going to let it drop.
Yeah,
you know,
that's it.
There's
There's nothing we could do. So we're getting out. So as you guys everybody is coming out,
right. That's
then
when
all of a sudden
we hear
you get
another
the next
signal
call.
10. So, you know, you hear Chief Teddy Smith, he's like, you know, the mutual aids need to take over that one.
Yeah.
So he sent, you know, one of his other, you know, first assistant and second assistant chiefs. He said, I got it here.
You go over there.
Yeah. So we're outside, you know, whatever. And, you know, we're just trying to figure out what we could salvage, if we have to just make sure, you know, like everybody is safe and sound, and we have to just check, you know, overhaul everything. We have to just make sure.
Yeah.
So I think that in history,
I mean, that's wild. That's just to have that happen. I'm pretty sure that's happened to, you know, to other departments, but to be and that's happening, right? You're in there, you're worried about one, and that's more of a, I guess, for the chief. I know the chief was like, what the? You know. Because now he has to know what's going on in this one and what's going on over there. Even though he has his deputies, he's still the chief of the department. This is happening in his town. So
you have, you know, like I've noticed that the chiefs, I learned a lot from the chiefs that came in.
Yeah.
You know, ex-Chief Teddy Smith called me princess. You know,
shout out to Teddy. And,
you know, ex-Chief Mark Siebert, you know, like
Shout out
we
to
created a great bond. George Martinez, we have a good bond as well. Our first assistant, Chief Kevin Hicks, I've known him for years. And so, what I learned from ex-Chief Teddy Smith was in the back of the chief car, they have a board.
Okay. Yep.
He taught me at one fire when I was in EMS.
Okay.
He taught me what to write on the board, write down, mutual aids, make a house diagram, see where, the 1, 2, 3, 4 corner is or whatever, and where all the rigs parked.
Yep.
So I was so blessed to learn things like that.
And that's important. Yeah, that's important in the heat of the moment while everything's going on. That's what that board is for.
Right.
So you can always look at that and say, all right, this is this. These are the mutual aids I have. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. Yeah. So that's good that he taught you that he showed you that.
Yeah. And then when Jessica, ex-Chief Jessica Ellerby, she came into the chief's office. She actually wanted to shine where I was from. Because in the Uniondale Fire Department, I'm the only Indian person here,
Okay.
Like one person. We had some people come and go, that was from different ethnicities. We have West Indian people, and we had somebody who was in truck company. He was from Pakistan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But the longest standing person was me.
You were the longest.
And I also look at Jessica as a mentor, right?
Yeah.
Because female wise, right?
To see her at the highest rank. Yep.
And when she was in Company 1, I was able to learn from her too.
Okay.
Because she also went from EMS to rescue and stuff like that. And till this day, I ask for advice from her too. Of what should I do next?
Yeah. Jessica's knowledgeable, very knowledgeable.
And,
well, go ahead. Keep going.
So that was another story I could say. And I guess a sad story, but it ended well.
Okay, talk to me.
Was our first assistant chief, Kevin Hicks, when his house caught on fire. It broke my heart.
Yeah.
A fellow brother,
that happened.
Yeah, that happened to. I never expected that.
Yeah. It was rough.
And I was in EMS at that time. So I remember, one day, ex-Chief Darnell Eason was there, and we were sitting, and we came up with this, why don't we hold a fundraiser?
Yes, I remember.
You remember that?
Yes, and this is why the volunteer services is so amazing, fire department, because it's all about sticking together.
Yeah,
and he needed help, and help was there.
So I said, anything to help anybody, So we were selling raffles. I was getting donations from raffles.
It was a comedy show, wasn't it? It was a comedy show. It was dope.
Ex-Chief Darnell Easton reached out to some person who's a mutual person for a comedy, for a comedy club. And they said they will do it for free.
Yes, that's right. They did. They did it for free.
Yes.
Yep.
I remember we were
all
upstairs.
of those proceeds went right to him and his family, so it was great.
We made a great amount of donations. And the fact that everybody came together, because they know first assistant, Chief
everybody.
Kevin Hicks. Everybody knows him, right?
The mayor
He's a humble
of
dude
Uniondale.
Too. Right. Yeah.
It's basically the mayor of Uniondale.
He is.
Who doesn't know?
But it was a benefit thing that came out of it. Seeing a smile on the family's face, a relief that how we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And that actually. To me, when other people are happy, I'm happy. That's how I work.
Yeah.
And
then just to see that camaraderie that we always have in the fire department, which is great.
Totally.
All right, so I got another question for you. All right,
talk to me.
I need to know one common myth that you want to debunk right now about firefighting, or EMT, or whatever you got. Something that you want to debunk.
When people say that this is an easy job,
there we go.
And they said that anybody can do it off the street.
It's not true.
It is not true. I'm telling you firsthand, it is
First
not
not because you technically were right off the street. He's like, let's go, and showed up.
And
It is
you know,
not.
like it's not because, and I'm gonna say this because I'm one of them that never thought that I was ever going to join the fire service, right? Like so,
and now you're here and you're stuck. That's it,
Right.
and you love it.
right?
Becomes a part of your life after that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just basically, like it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
In the EMS world, I've seen everything. I've seen decapitations. I've seen eviscerations. I've seen amputation. I've seen DOAs. I've seen it all.
Wow.
Right? A lot of people can't handle that.
Yeah.
In rescue, some people, they care about themselves before their pets. I've seen pets, fried pets.
Yeah.
We've seen, dead bodies, actually burnt bodies, So, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's actually, I wouldn't say it's a calling. I think it's like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. I would say it's both. It's a calling and a blessing.
Yeah. So, I consider it more of a blessing because
You've learned so much.
yeah, I've learned so much. And on top of that, I just had, I've had so many people that have supported me throughout my
Career.
term. So here,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And still career. You're still in it now.
Yeah,
So
still
yeah,
in
to
it
learn
now.
all those people. No, definitely. I get that.
and then, I was also, you were, chairman of disaster preparedness, right?
Yep.
So I learned a lot from you.
Yeah.
And then, I remember you and Lamont.
Yep.
Set me up, and you guys
Let's
told me,
go. You can
like
do
you
this,
gotta do
chairwoman.
this,
You
right?
can do this.
And I tried, and we learned a lot from disaster preparedness when
That's
we went
right.
to conferences.
Yep.
We learned about major disasters and
You get a different look when you're on that committee.
Yeah.
When I, especially when I was chairing that committee, I got a different look at the fire service, right? Because I look at it from, the aspect of fires and engine and all of this, but then to look at it in a whole as a disaster. If this happened in my town, what would I do? What do I need? What do
Right.
the people need? What is that? You learn all of those things. But again, like you said, you learn so much being here. And I think that's amazing. I think that is, I love that. I love that. All right. So let's keep going here. You know what? We're going to play the Firehouse. I keep calling it the Firehouse, the Flashover. The name of the show is the Firehouse. We're going to play the Flashover. All right. I'm pretty sure you saw the show, but if you haven't seen the show, we play a game called the Flashover. And in this game, I will give you two things like Android and Apple, and you got to tell me real quick what you like or which one is better. Okay. Now, it could be we're going to talk about TV shows and we're going to talk about movies. Okay.
Okay.
Now, we were talking before we started airing. You were saying that I have to add some shows in there.
Yeah,
right?
you should.
All right. So I think I might do that. But for this one, we're gonna go with these. Right.
Okay.
We're gonna go with these right now. Okay. So are you ready for the Flashover, Konica?
I got you.
You're ready. Okay.
Yep.
Here we go. Chicago Fire, rescue me.
Rescue me.
Rescue me. Third watch.
Third watch.
Backdraft. Ladder 49.
Backdraft.
Backdraft, no matter what. You going backdraft.
I'm going backdraft.
Going backdraft. Now, this is an interesting question for you, all right? Because you're EMT, you're rescue, which is kind of truck, but let's see what you say here. This is the most important question I'm going to ask today. Engine or truck? Let's go.
You already know my answer with this. I'm always going to be rescue.
All right, so that's...
But what I say to
Okay.
everyone,
Okay.
even in other departments that I meet, we are truck with a twist.
Okay, so I guess you want to go truck. Do you want to say?
We do truck operations.
Yes.
But with a twist.
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 So you still, if you have to pick one, you're going truck.
Yeah.
All right, you're going
Even
truck. Even though, go ahead, no, try to back up. We're going truck.
Even though I learned a lot, when Chavez was around an engine, but and Soto.
Yes, but truck company. There we go. That's right. Boom, boom, boom. Truck. Shout out to the truckies. Shout out to the truckies over there. I love that. All right, so I got another question for you. Before we kind of get out of here, I got a question about, there's probably new people that are listening or people that are thinking about, coming in. What kind of advice would you want to give a person that is thinking about coming or someone that just joined?
So I always say for a person that already is in, ask as many questions as you want.
That's right.
And the beneficial thing, ask your senior members.
That's right. Yep.
And the reason why is because you learn so much from senior members, right?
Yes.
And I can give a perfect example for that.
Mm-hmm.
Ex-Chief Willie Wilson.
Yep.
Ex-Chief George Leonard.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
I learned a whole ton. And not only that, Ex-Chief George Leonard was a big supporter in a lot of awards I have received.
Wow. Let's talk about it. How many awards have you received? Well, not even how many. What's one that you have received? Let's talk about one of those.
Well, Ex-Chief George Leonard put in for everybody that had helped, for the major people that helped for First Assistant Chief Kevin Hicks.
Yep.
His fundraiser.
Okay.
So I received a Town of Hempstead Award for that.
Look at that. Okay.
Another Town of Hempstead Award I received was just helping in general for like a domestic violence that we had, and we saved a girl for that.
Wow. Okay. And you got awards for those things.
Yeah, and also, you know, I received an award for the train wreck in Westbury. Okay. Where they called us, and Kakish and I, we were paged, and we were there for maybe 9 hours. Whew. You know, and we were EMS at that time. And, you know, like, and we got acknowledged for that.
I love that. So you're not just like trendsetter, you're also award-winning, Konica. I think we might have to start changing that. When we put out the graphics for this, it's going to say award-winning.
And then I received EMT of the Year 2 times in a row.
Wow.
The second time was in 2016 when I lost my father.
Okay.
I used the Firehouse as a distraction, and everybody's seen it as a dedication.
Yeah.
You know, that she's still going, you know, she just lost her dad, you know, she's picking up these responsibilities at home. And, you know, like, I did my fair share.
Yeah,
you know?
You did. Listen. Yeah.
I got seasoned in pretty well. But, you know, the greatest thing I would say is learn from your senior members.
Yeah.
I was blessed because not only I learned from my company guys, I learned from Truck, I learned from Manor, you know, I learned from Brookside. You know, when I was going through primaries, essentials, I used everybody as a resource, you know, and everybody was so helpful. And not only that, we were able to create like a bond, a great bond. There you go.
Yep.
You know,
and that's what you get.
And someone who's going to come in.
That's right.
And someone who's going to come in, look at me, you know, perfect example, person who never thought would be here.
That you'd be where you are.
Right.
Yeah.
But you get a family, right? A dysfunctional family. That
everybody
we're not all functionable here. You know, we all have different personalities.
Say that again. You get what type of family?
A dysfunctional family.
But it's still a family.
Yes, it's still a family. When you need them, they're here.
They're there.
And the best thing is a lot of people made careers out of here.
That's right.
Because the amount of people, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
That's right.
So the networking, you know, you have NYPD, you have FDNY, and people guide you through here.
Yes.
You know, my auditing job I have
was
because I looked up to Fitz because he's an audit.
Yep. See,
right?
So that's the connections. That's where you learn and things like that. Yep.
And that kind of motivated me, like, maybe I should do the audit thing, you know, instead of just accounting, you know.
And that's why you got to love the fire service. Because, again, it's about those connections and you learn and get all of those people.
Yeah.
Listen, I love that. I love that. So before we get out of here, is there anything that I'm forgetting about? Anything that you want to mention that I am forgetting about right now that we want to tell the peoples?
You know what? I can say we work hand in hand with the cops.
Okay.
You know,
all right. We want to bring that up.
The police department.
Okay. Shout out to them.
Yeah, actually, a lot of police officers, when they see my face, they're like, oh, you know, there's another Spanish girl that's walking around here, you know? and
you got to tell them right then and there.
Yeah. And we, you know, like, and when they find out, you know, either I'm on the phone, you know, with my cousins and I'm literally speaking in Punjabi or Hindi and they'll be like,
wait, who? What?
When? You know? So, you know, what in the world is going on here? You know? And now, a lot of people that know that, you know, I speak English, Punjabi, Hindi, you know, recently we had the cricket match.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Which,
that was
you know,
huge in Uniondale.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
huge.
and everybody in the department was asking, you know, like, how do they play this? You know, how do you do this? You know, and I can also thank Jessica for that, because Jessica, you know, every Indian event, she will call me and tell me, I need you to be here.
I need you to be here.
Because she's
That's
like,
using her resources, though.
Yeah,
using
but,
her resources.
You know, I've never seen people in my community
Okay.
that come out, you know, and then they see me. And, you know, Indian people know Indian people very fast.
Yes.
For some reason, some odd reason. We have this intuition that we know each other, right? And we just know, you know,
mesh, learn.
And a lot of, you know, Indian community people, they ask me, and I encourage people, you know, to join.
Yes, right.
Because especially females, and they're younger females, right?
Yeah.
And they'll say they're from Hicksville and stuff like that, and I'll be like,
Join. Go down to your fire
I was like,
department.
because I tell them that there's not a lot of Indian women,
That's right. Mm-hmm.
that are from our culture,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's in the fire service. So I would also
Change.
consider that as a blessing, you know?
That's right. That's right.
And now the police officers, you know, like they'll be on a call sometimes, the ones that know me very well, they'll say, oh, well, don't you have this Indian girl, you know, that speaks the language? And then, you know, like I'll get, you know, phone calls.
But then
or whatever.
you're coming out to now help the community.
Yeah.
Yep. I love that.
So,
I love
you
that.
know, it's a great place
Yes.
to be.
I love that. Well, listen. Thank you so much for coming down here. I'm telling you, I'm going to start calling you award-winning Konica and trendsetter. But no, seriously, though, thank you so much for coming down. Thank you for what you do, for real. So thank
you for what you do.
Listen. Listen, we're just here to have some fun and have a good time.
Well,
but
I
anyway,
enjoyed it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Listen, thank you so much for coming down. All right, so I hope you all enjoyed that. We just heard from Konica from the Uniondale Fire Department about her life as a firefighter and an EMT, right? I hope you all enjoyed this conversation. Please like, share, subscribe, do all of those things. I am your host, Chris Moses, and please tune in next week for another great conversation in the Firehouse.